One evening, while waiting for two arms dealers to arrive in the car with her boyfriend, Judy asks when they are going to get married, as they have been in a relationship for many years. In response, Matt says that he will propose as soon as they are ready to have children, but the truth is that he only intends to be a father in the distant future. However, their plans are upended when Judy reveals that she is pregnant and tells him that she found out that morning. In recent days, the woman had been dreaming every night of two little boys dueling against each other in a card game and decided to take a pregnancy test. To his surprise, when he heard the news, Matt was delighted and excited about the idea of having a child. At that moment, Hess appears in the company of Lincoln and the couple get out of the car to assess the goods. After opening the trunk, Lincoln takes out a shotgun he illegally imported from Indonesia and reveals that he is selling the whole lot for $40,000. After hearing this, Matt draws his gun and announces that the smugglers are under arrest, but Hess attacks him and ends up being shot in the abdomen. Seeing his partner being shot, Lincoln takes out his pistol and shoots the undercover policeman. Immediately, Judy draws her gun to strike back, but the smuggler manages to escape and she goes to help her wounded boyfriend. When she sees a hole in Matt's chest, the woman realizes that he is eliminated, so she runs after Lincoln to arrest him for murder. During the escape, Lincoln is followed by Hess, who, despite being wounded, is able to get up to flee and, with great difficulty, manages to catch up with his partner, who has just broken into an abandoned warehouse. Realizing he's losing a lot of blood, he begs for Lincoln's help, but the man pushes his friend down the stairs because he doesn't want anyone delaying his escape. When he realizes that Judy is approaching, Hess hides behind some wooden boxes and the policewoman can't find him. After hearing a noise coming from the second floor, Judy goes upstairs. Meanwhile, Charnetsky, the security guard who looks after the building, calls his favorite diner to order a portion of fried chicken and Mark says he'll send his order soon. After arguing with his boss, the young man leaves to make the delivery and drives to the warehouse. In the meantime, Hess, who is still hiding, spots a beam of blue light touching the ground and crawls over to it. Looking around, the man comes across many old dolls and lies down to rest. When he least expects it, the toys come to life and start planning an attack. After a long search, Judy finally manages to find her target and almost gets shot. However, the woman quickly hides behind a shelf and then strikes back. When he realizes that he won't be able to escape the gunfire, Lincoln decides to engage in hand-to-hand combat and knocks the pistol out of the policewoman's hands. What he didn't realize was that Judy also knows how to fight and, even after taking a few blows, she knocks her opponent down and manages to handcuff him. While the woman keeps Lincoln in custody, Hess wakes up from his brief rest and realizes that the crank of a music box is turning by itself. Curious, he approaches to try to understand what is going on and is startled to see a demonic clown coming out of the box. While watching the doll, Hess ends up being attacked and the creature begins to bite him. After tearing a few pieces off his victim's face, Jack decides to let go and the man falls to the ground. As he is seriously injured, Hess is unable to get up and ends up having the fingers of his hand ripped off by a teddy bear. While the man lies on the ground in agony, a little boy comes up to him and thanks him for showing up, because now they can play together. At that moment, Mr. Static approaches and starts firing laser beams at the smuggler, whose abdomen is torn apart by the shots. Hearing Hess's screams, Charnetsky wakes up from his nap and starts looking for where the noise is coming from. At that moment, Judy and Lincoln also hear the cries of despair, but when the woman tries to go out to investigate, she realizes that the door is locked. Looking at the TV, Charnetsky realizes that a horror movie is on and convinces himself that the screams he heard came from the character, so he sits back in his chair. Worried, Judy decides to call the police for backup, but soon discovers that the landline isn't working. When he discovers that he is locked in that place, Lincoln orders Judy to get him out as soon as possible, because he has the right to a lawyer. At that moment, the woman is seized by a great rage and remembers that that guy eliminated her boyfriend minutes ago, so she threatens to shoot him on the pretext that she acted in self-defense. Just then, Mark arrives and rings the doorbell to get Charnetsky to open the garage. Hearing the vehicle approaching, Judy breaks the window glass and starts shouting for help, but the young man can't hear her because his car stereo is turned up to maximum volume. As they meet every night, since Charnetsky always orders food from the same diner, the two become friends and Mark sits down for a beer with the guard. In an attempt to announce her location in the hope that someone will show up to help her, Judy starts shooting at the ceiling and Mark can hear her. Immediately, Charnetsky grabs his revolver and gets up to search the place, as he suspects that some intruder has managed to get into the warehouse. Afraid that someone will show up while the security guard is away, Mark decides to follow him and they both find the room where Judy is being held. After seeing the policewoman's badge, the guard opens the door and the woman reveals that she followed two smugglers to that warehouse. Seeing Lincoln in handcuffs, Charnetsky realizes that Judy is telling the truth and allows her to use his office phone to call for help. However, as she can't leave her prisoner alone, the woman tells the security guard to call the police station where she works and report what has happened. Knowing that there is another criminal on the loose in that warehouse, Charnetsky asks Mark to stay there with Judy while he returns to his office. However, as he is making his way back, the guard ends up being attacked by one of the toys, which hits his leg with a baseball bat. At that moment, Mark looks through the glass of the door and sees his friend falling to the ground, but believes that he just tripped. Soon afterwards, Charnetsky gets up and says he's fine, because even he doesn't understand what has just happened. The Daisy doll appears and introduces herself. She then takes the guard's revolver and shoots him in the knee. When he hears the gunshot, Mark realizes that Charnetsky has been shot and Judy opens the door to try to help. However, the demonic doll shoots in her direction, so the woman has to lock herself back inside the warehouse. As Charnetsky slips to the ground with a leg wound, Teddy appears with a bloody face and distracts the man while the clown wraps itself around his neck. Then the grizzly bear swallows its prey to the sound of Jack's laughter. When he realizes that there is someone else in that warehouse, Lincoln decides to try to escape and strikes Judy. However, as the criminal is handcuffed, she manages to immobilize him easily and cuffs his arms to one of the shelves. Meanwhile, Mark hears Charnetsky's screams and sees him being tortured by the toys, but he's too scared to go there to help him. After eliminating the security guard, the dolls team up to open the door and Mark tries to hold it shut while Judy prepares to shoot if they manage to get in. Suddenly, a woman arrives at the warehouse through the air conditioning ducts and reveals that she had to escape through the pipes because the toys have come to life and are eliminating people. When asked why she was in that warehouse, Anne reveals that she is homeless and found the place 2 nights ago. According to the young woman, her mother perished and her father is extremely aggressive, so she decided to run away from home because she was tired of being used as a punching bag. After eliminating the security guard, the Daisy doll drags his body to the place where Hess saw the blue beam of light form, because the blood of that human serves as food for her master. While thinking of a strategy to escape alive, Judy asks what that place is and Mark reveals that it's a warehouse used to store old toys that have never been sold. According to him, the entire building is locked until dawn and the only way out is through the loading gates, which are opened by means of a control. When she hears this, the policewoman remembers that Lincoln shot the locks off one of the doors when he broke in, so the group can escape through it. However, Anne claims that the toys blocked that passage as soon as Judy entered the building. The girl went there to investigate what was going on, as she heard numerous gunshots, and it was then that she saw the diabolical toys for the first time. According to the young woman, the whole building is haunted and bad spirits have possessed the bodies of the toys. When she hears this, Judy gets angry because she doesn't believe in supernatural creatures. Furious, she drops a pyramid of blocks on the floor and, when they stop spinning, they form the word believe. Immediately, Anne gets the message and starts asking the spirit questions. When asked about its purpose, the entity reveals that it takes pleasure in eliminating human beings and the group soon realizes that the attacks won't stop until everyone is eliminated. Suddenly, the spirit invades Lincoln's body and begins to use it to communicate with the others. The creature then reveals that it wants to possess the bodies of those people, because it needs flesh and blood to feed on. When Judy is about to shoot the criminal, he turns into a child and the policewoman feels confused, as she remembers that she has often dreamt about that young man over the last few nights. Soon afterwards, the man returns to his original form and the spirit says that Judy's body is the one he needs most, as she is carrying a baby in her womb. After saying these words, the evil spirit leaves and Lincoln faints. At that moment, Judy realizes that they need to get out of there as soon as possible and convinces Mark to accompany Anne through the ducts to look for an exit, so that they can call for help. In the meantime, she will remain in that room, as she cannot leave Lincoln alone, since he is under her responsibility. As soon as the young people enter the air conditioning ducts, Judy hears a voice calling her name and begins to look for where it is coming from. Looking at the doll's house, the woman faints and is transported into that small house, where she meets the young man of her dreams once again. The boy reveals that, for the time being, he resides on the astral plane and claims to be an evil spirit. At this point, he takes on countless forms to stir Judy's emotions. The demon then says that he is not part of the physical world and feeds on the fear and pain of humans. But that hasn't been enough to satisfy him. His true desire is to obtain a body to attach his soul to, because only then will he be able to get out of that warehouse. The entity says that it's been 66 years since he last tried to be born, but all the babies he attached himself to were stillborn. It was Halloween night and, after wrapping up the corpse of the newborn, Dr. Michaels handed it over to the children who knocked on his door asking for sweets. Mrs. July then asked the youngsters to plant that seed in fertile soil so that it could grow, and the children innocently followed her instructions. The trio then invaded the land of a construction company to plant the seed, but when they removed the fabric, they discovered that there was a baby's body inside. Terrified, the children threw the corpse into a hole and the evil spirit remained trapped there for 66 years until it finally broke free. However, in order to take on a human form, the entity needs to be born as a human, so it decides to attach itself to the fetus being carried by Judy. After saying this, the demon takes on the appearance of Matt and the woman begins to cry at the sight of him. As they slide down the ducts, Anne and Mark hear the sound of honking horns and look down to see some masked girls riding tricycles. On seeing them, Anne soon realizes that the girls are just hallucinating and tells them that they can't hurt them. However, it doesn't take long for the group to notice the presence of the youngsters and the pair have to hurry. Suddenly, the doll Daisy appears with a knife and pierces Mark's leg, but he manages to get rid of her with a kick. Soon after, Mr. Static invades the ducts and attacks Anne with his laser beams. Quickly, the young woman crawls her way out and manages to reach Charnetsky's office. Then Mark appears, knocks over the doll to make way and follows Anne into the office. Just as the young man was about to call the police, the two toys appear and start shooting, so Mark uses a lighter and aerosol spray to set them on fire. As soon as his enemies leave, he picks up the phone to make the call, then realizes that one of the shots has hit the handset and the phone has stopped working. Desperate, the young man opens the locker and grabs Charnetsky's shotgun to defend himself against the toys. Just then, the clown bursts into the office and attacks Anne. While trying to help the girl free herself, Mark becomes the next victim and Jack bites his neck. While the young man fights for his survival, Daisy returns and pierces Anne's face with her knife. After eliminating Jack with the rifle, Mark tries to hit the doll, but she manages to dodge his shots and runs away. At that moment, the young man realizes that Anne is eliminated and, when he looks at the TV, he sees the demon that brought those toys to life. The creature claims that with each elimination caused by its servants, it becomes stronger and guarantees that Mark will never escape alive. When she finally wakes up from her fainting spell, Judy realizes that Lincoln has managed to escape and immediately goes after him. While trying to find a way out of the building, Mark comes across a beautiful woman who tries to seduce him, but he soon realizes that it's just a hallucination. Then the woman turns into Anne and he is deeply saddened to be reminded of the tragic end the young woman suffered. When the hallucinations finally disappear, Mark continues on his way to the exit, but is caught by surprise by Lincoln, who strikes him to steal his shotgun. Just then, the demon invades the criminal's body and is about to shoot the young man when Judy appears and puts a bullet through Lincoln's head. Even so, the ghost keeps reviving his body, so Mark rips off the smuggler's head to make sure he doesn't get up to hurt them. When she discovers that Anne has been eliminated, Judy rushes to find a way out before the demon really gets hold of her unborn child. Just then, however, the pair are surrounded by a legion of possessed toys and both start shooting to try and clear the way. The problem is that no matter how many of those monsters they manage to eliminate, new diabolical toys keep appearing and trying to attack them. After Daisy the doll and Teddy the bear are destroyed, a giant monster emerges from behind the boxes and starts chasing the pair. The scary-looking creature with sharp teeth strikes Mark and chases Judy, who locks herself inside a room and uses some boxes to block the door, preventing the monster from reaching her. However, the woman soon discovers that there is nowhere to go and knows that sooner or later the toy will manage to break down the door. So she prepares to shoot, and when she sees the monster's claws, she begins to lose hope that she will escape alive. Determined to spare herself the suffering that follows, Judy considers taking her own life and is about to shoot herself in the head when she sees the door open and a little porcelain soldier asks her to follow him. However, when she finally manages to leave the room, the policewoman comes across the body of her eliminated boyfriend and the demon begins to use this hallucination to haunt her. Terrified, the woman faints and, at that moment, Mark finally manages to get up, having been thrown into a pile of cardboard boxes. While unconscious, Judy is dragged into the center of a pentagram and has her arms and legs tied so that she can't escape. Just as he was about to leave, Matt heard the policewoman's cries for help and decided to go back to help her. However, as he prepares to shoot the demon, the monster that had chased Judy returns and runs after the young man. Just as he is about to be devoured by the monster, Mark arrives at the garage and manages to get into his car. At that moment, he shoots the predator and tries to start the car. Seeing his enemy right in front of him, Mark reverses and then accelerates at high speed to run over the creature. After catching his predator, the young man shoots it in the fuel tank and causes an explosion to eliminate it once and for all. Before attaching itself to the fetus that the woman is carrying in her womb, the demon takes on its true appearance and transforms into a horrifying creature. His plan consists of invading Judy's body and devouring her baby's soul to take her place. He will then stimulate the development of the fetus so that it can be born before dawn and, during childbirth, the woman will suffer a painful elimination. However, just as the demon was about to put his plan into action, the little porcelain soldier appears and shoots the demon. While the enemy tries to recover from his wound, the little soldier helps Judy to free herself and soon after turns into the blonde boy the woman had been dreaming of for the last few days. Immediately, the demon also turns into a child and the two boys start fighting each other to decide who will inhabit Judy's womb. While they duel, the woman picks up a sword and stabs the demon in the back, helping her son to win the dispute. Just then, the blonde boy stands up and introduces himself as Judy's future son. According to him, that demon has been sent back to hell and will never disturb them again. After saying goodbye to his mother, the young man says he'll see her again in 8 months' time and turns back into a little porcelain soldier. When he returns to help Judy, Mark realizes that the woman is fine and is relieved to discover that the battle against the demon has been won. So what did you think of this movie? Leave it in the comments below. And if you liked the video, like and subscribe for more movie recaps. See you next time.